Mark in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Good evening / afternoon if you're here on the West Coast with me. Happy Sunday. This is the Brick Something News, and I'm Brick Something, and today I'm hyped to have my buddy FanAgain Collectibles Abe Froman here with me. How are you today?
I am hanging in there. How are all of you?
We'll find out in a second how folks are. I'm doing okay, man. It's a little wet here and rainy. I was wondering because I kept getting these alerts on my phone yesterday saying beware of severe weather and power outages. And I was like, okay, is this like a California panicking because there's rain? But I will attest. My wife and I went out to try and get a cup of coffee and do some of the, Sunday errand shopping thing. And I got denied at the coffee shop because power was out, and went into Target. It was all dark, but of course they got a Jenny or something. They got something going on where they could still take your money. So we were walking around in the dark in Target, mostly dark. Even though Thanos did at one point recommend that I go looting, I did not. So it's a thing. It looks okay right now. So hopefully the show will continue.
It has been gorgeous here all weekend.
Yeah,
we've just
had good for you. It's about time. You've had some not so gorgeous. And Ryan, folks, where you're at?
I am in the mid coast over here in Indiana, beautiful Spiceland, Indiana.
So FanAgain is that might sound like a familiar name because I have shared recently. Most recently, I shared the awesome bug that you sent me, the 12-inch bug that I'm gonna. Either myself or my brother, haven't decided yet if I'm going to brave the painting. And I, got the head, and you sent me the cool little 3.75 O-ring figs that I'll be able to sort of share here, man. So thank you. We'll be looking at that, and I'm sharing that as context because today I definitely wanted to look at some of the more like definitely a little more indie, even though I often do indie, but a lot of like the sort of maker realm of things because there's just a whole lot, and I'm sure folks here are not lacking in information sources about Hasbro, Mattel, and some of the other ones. So today that's kind of the realm we're going to hang out in with a couple of exceptions. So because you yourself are a toy maker, sir.
I love my toys.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you're a toy fan and a toy maker. And so let's go ahead and talk some toys and other goodness, other geeky goodness. Let's see who is here today with us. We got Game Quest. Yep, following up. We were hanging out on the Highly Articulated channel earlier. So yes, and good news to the folks there that were wondering. We are recording the next couple episodes of AWalk Talk, and we'll work our way towards the end of issues 1 through 5. Got Renders FX, another talented maker like yourself, who has worked with Ramen on a couple of things, who's been doing some crazy cosplay type mask, and he'll be joining me next week as the co-host, which is going to be dope. We got Thanos, as usual, with a big old wrench, ready to do his thing. Lucha Johnny, who I've had the pleasure of hanging out with for a couple of nights this week. Yeah, it seems like quite a bit the last 2 weeks to talk Masters of the Universe. So yeah, I'd love to. We'll talk Motu in a second. I want to know your Motu history. Let's see. We got Cobweb Collector. Speaking of Motu, this guy's got the inside track on those Masterverse figs. He's getting them super early. So definitely sub to Cobweb Collectors and check those out. Yeah. I just look at his stuff and kind of imagine the toys that I'll maybe get 3 or 4 months down the road. We got Stanley's Toy Channel. What's going on, Stanley? Good to see you. We've got Nolan. Officially, he is here. He's always here, there, everywhere. We've got Highly Articulated rocking that Brick members only. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting the bear from Mythic Legions. I'm terrible with Mythic Legions names, but the cool bear, that's his icon. If you can't see it here in the live stream, you can see it in the YouTube chat. So speaking of which, thank you, Adam. Yes, we have. I have activated the membership. Finally, I sat on that whole membership thing for like several months, like, oh, what are the tiers and all that. I announced it officially last time with KJ, but that's available, and I appreciate anybody who can want to support the channel. Basically, leave a couple of bucks in the tip jar every month to support me trying to do this thing, pay for some live stream, pay for all the things. So appreciate that. And then, folks join. Definitely want to feature them a lot more here on the channel. I would love to do some member hangouts. That's the plan. And that's the whole part of this, man. You and I met because I saw your stuff and I was like, hey, let's record something. And it's been great. Same with, people who mentioned highly articulated. Yeah. I mean, he and I met because we both had a shared love at AWOC, saw each other's videos and just started chatting up a storm. So that's the best part of this whole YouTube thing. Imho, in my humble opinion.
For sure.
Kayla's down in the South Bay, San Jose area, kind of your old stomping ground, sort of, right? As a child?
Long ago.
Long ago. But yeah, they're out too. It's weird. We get like sketchy sections of the grid. She's down in San Jose, which is clearly like an overtaxed grid, period. But right around these parts, especially Daly City, Colma, man, it's like it's you can pretty much guarantee that the power is going to go out when it rains. Let's see.
Rough.
Weather talk, but it's California. What we can't talk about. We have real weather.
There's got to be a downside somewhere.
I want to, yeah. Let's see. Again, Mas, folks, awesome. Folks are chatting. Oh, here, Brian Brink is here. What's going on? Keeper of the charts. He's clocking that HasLab right now. Transformers, like wild, huge robot.
He's right.
Here, the Indiana's getting a double whammy of cicadas this year. 2 broods emerging, coinciding. 2 brood emergence. Yeah. What does that mean when there's 2 broods?
It's where they're on different cycles.
Okay.
One's a 15 and one's a 17 or something like that. My wife knows way better than I do. But yeah, it's going. So
that means hella cicadas everywhere, and it's extra loud.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be bad. What was it? 2 or 3 years ago, we had a huge bloom of them. And I don't know what brood they were, but they were red. And it was insane. The trees, it was everywhere. It was crazy.
The first time I encountered cicada, or like even was aware of linking the sound to the animal, was on tour. And just sort of like, what's that sound? It like almost sounds like electricity buzzing or something.
Yeah, sometimes.
And I got a quick education, and it's awesome. It's kind of like, I'm sure, I don't know what the actual impact is, but just a reminder of nature. Do they like damage stuff?
They can eat certain things. But the big thing is just their shells, their molts.
Yeah, dropping everywhere. I remember that. Yeah, they look like these guys, right?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, like a Spexian.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's how much of a nerd I am. I'm like, yeah, nature. Let's talk sci-fi monster. Who else? We got Carol. How's it going, Carol? Great to see you. Saying hello to everybody in the chat. We got friendly folks. We got Ray Paz. That's all right, man. We are here. You are here when you're here. Always good to have you, Ray. Elton Rodriguez de Sousa. Good to see you. Yeah, yes. Sure. Mary Atwell. Hello. Good to see you. And see, this is the part I'm just not good at this whole thing. Apparently it's a 7-year and 13-year broods. Lucha thinks, and they are in fact wild. And that cicada sound is constant in Japan. You know what? I don't even know if I even realized it the couple of times I was there. Because it's like Tokyo. There's sounds everywhere. At least the main place. And then outside of there. Anyway, Cicada Talk. Thank you for joining Cicada Talk. We're going to go ahead and Move on to the real order of business. And while I do that, let me just say that if you're unfamiliar with the kind of like way we do things here, we're going to be talking about all sorts of like nerdy things, a lot of toy news, maybe some art stuff. And so, it's just going to be coming at you with information. And so if you're the kind of person who might want to actually follow up on some of this stuff, which I highly encourage, because that's really what this is about, trying to signal boost some talented folks, check out that URL at the bottom, or that QR code over by FanAgain right at the second. And that'll take you to a document that'll share all of this stuff with you. And it's usually updated shortly after we end the live stream. But I've got folks in the chat who will help us sort of like post things in the live stream. So yeah. So thank you in advance, Thanos, for that. Always awesome to have you do that. And
definitely. I appreciate those whenever I'm watching.
Yeah, for sure. And let me actually make sure I did that right, because as I told you, not feeling totally prepared and with it today. Here we go. That's better. All right. So on that note, definitely follow that. That'll be there. But let's go ahead and talk about the first section, which is the scene. What did we actually see? News is not truly news. It's needless ephemera we saw. We're just going to talk about, what we saw or what we want you to see with us. And the first one is Boss Fight. And I know you're familiar with some Boss Fight toys. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
You want to share a little bit about your background with these toys and your experience with some of these, with Boss Fight as a studio?
I'm the guy that made the Abe for their travelers, for their time travelers. Give me a second. I'll grab one. It's right behind me.
Yeah. And the time travelers, FYI, and you'll hear this brought up a lot, is a nod to a favorite toy line of mine and FanAgain's. Here we go and bring him up. The Micronauts. And so Boss Fight a little bit ago did their 3 3/4 sort of homage, right, to the old Micronauts figures. And FanAgain saw what they were doing and was like, there's one thing that was like real critical to the entire Micronauts sort of brand and lore, if you will. And that's what you've got there in the tummy. You want to explain that? The engines.
Okay. The chest engines were such an awesome gimmick. They really were. They were interchangeable. So these ones aren't interchangeable. They're kind of static. You have to pop the body apart. Yep. And then you can, switch the Abe out, like you normally can with any of your Boss Fight stuff. Yep. But the piece that you have from me, that time traveler, has actual chest engines that come off of it. And that was the neat part of it, was the fact that, you could swap these out. You could change them in the interchangeable world of the Micronauts. Yep. And that was such a selling point. And you wanted to collect all the time travelers you possibly could to get the chest engines.
To be clear, so what you're mentioning that I have is you actually make your own custom, like your own toy line, basically, and we'll take a look at those. And then Boss Fight was kind of creating theirs. What do they call theirs? I'm trying to bring it up on the site.
It's not the hidden. That's on my brain. The hidden is on my brain.
The hidden is the other company. That's okay. I'm looking through, but are they considered hacks, hero hacks, or not?
They're Vitruvians. They're Vitruvian hacks.
Okay.
Which is part of Boss?
Yes. And so I'm looking here. Sorry, folks. Let's see. Anyway, you created your own thing, but in the process, that's not the right one. In the process, you actually hit them up. Yeah. How did that whole, let's just share that story, because I want people to hear, this is a relatively, approachable indie toy landscape that we're working in. So how did that all work?
I reached out and I just said, I would love the opportunity to try and make a chest engine for your Micronauts that were your figures that are, being shown as a time traveler type Micronaut figure.
Yep.
And they came back and said, submit. So I got busy, and it took a little bit because of what I design in and the fact that I don't have any of their files that I can look at and manipulate. So I had to create all that from scratch. So it was kind of a back and forth a little bit. And then we talked about the silver or the chrome, and basically I just started shipping them out pieces. I gave them unfinished so that they could finish their own. And then I gave them various, there they are.
Yeah. Tried to find them on their page, but couldn't. But yep.
But yeah, they're really neat. What they were doing before, they were just making the Abe silver.
That's these. So these are just the Abs, which, like, if you know Micronauts, isn't accurate to what they had. They had this technology that were these engines that would allow them to travel through time and do, you know, other cool sci-fi feats. So you're just like, hey, hit them up. And you said, let's do this thing. And they were open to it, huh?
Yeah. Instead of, I'm not very good at asking for payment.
Sure.
It's just, it's not there for me yet. I don't understand what my own worth is with anything. So I asked for one of their centaur horses so that I could make Karza.
Yeah. So they make horses as well. And so you were just like, there is a character called Baron Karza from the original toy line that top of his body would connect to the lower body of his horse, and you can create this centaur. So you're just like, hey, give me your thing. And
yeah,
that was your payment. Give me a free toy so I can do this. And I love that.
They're so cool. You know, they're really great to me. They really are. They're great to me. Not only did they send me that horse, they sent me some other pieces to experiment with. And I asked them, you know, could I have one of the females? Because I'd love to try a female. So they sent me a couple females, an orange and a green. And we just started the process all over again.
Nice. Wait, let me keep them there. Keep them there. Here we go. Nice. So are these going to be, is this a thing that's going to be coming available, do you think?
That is completely up to them.
Gotcha.
I'm really not privy to it. I know that they want to. And I know that, I believe his name is Justin, that his young son, that if you follow Vitruvian Armory, his son is the one that does the drawings. They do these drawings, and his son does the drawings.
Gotcha.
But anyway,
just like you guys, we haven't covered that yet, and we'll get to that maybe towards the end. But there's some family in the family kind of thing going on.
Yes, we like to keep it in the family, but we could make jokes out of that. But yeah,
sorry, Indiana.
We just we're so close to Kentucky. The jokes just seem to follow.
Out of respect, this Californian's keeping his mouth shut.
Yeah, if there's any Kentuckians out there, I apologize.
Too much of that business. No, but yeah.
So
we'll definitely circle back to like all of your work and probably pepper it in here and there. But the Vitruvian hack stuff, if folks don't know, definitely check them out. This is one that I've been trying to find. I thought I had a beat on one and a good deal, and maybe I'll go back. They're smaller figures. We're talking like 4-inch figures. But this one in particular, I've seen people work that into their Mythic Legions as a cool little fairy kind of creature. And I'm definitely looking at the, I'm still torn on which way I'm going to go with sort of Micronauts. If I'm going to go, like you've given me some options. I've got the 6-inch figure, and you've given me now the 3.75. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this is cool stuff. I think, again, I was trying to talk about this. So let's go ahead and move on to that. This is that Red Sonja. Sorry, I'm all over the place. This is a prototype that they just showed yesterday. And so it's looking good. And Ray was asking a little bit about the specifics. Will this Red Sonja have those pins? And honestly, I couldn't tell you. It's all really early. It's a prototype. They haven't said anything other than this officially. They just had the pictures from the the solicits that they shared that were all renders. And so in those pictures, we don't see them in the, but there's, there's no real indication yet, but this is definitely a prototype. So just because they are here, I think you're right to ask, will it have those pins or not? And so anything you're seeing right here on their post yesterday, just it's fully prototype. They'll clean a lot of this stuff up before they move into final production and mold and everything. But still, you get a sense of how the figure's constructed. What I'm most curious about is the scale on these, because they will definitely run a little bit smaller than most of the things on my shelf. I just wonder if I can make it work. She definitely is a missing character. And I have since not partaken of the whole loose collector stuff because they made a Red Sonja. So this might be my Red Sonja. We shall see.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell from those elbows, the elbow joints.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a prototype. Whenever they're finished, they use metal pins. I really need to. I've had a lot of people telling me I really need to switch over to metal pins for what I'm doing
for prototyping, or for using, and particularly for using like resin based.
Yeah, right now you'll see, you've seen my stuff. It has resin pins through it.
Now, since we have you here, is that because the material on the actual pins tend to rub away? Is that the idea as to why to use metal? Is it a matter of friction or both?
Yes and no. Metal doesn't break, of course, as easily as what the resin will.
Right.
But the new resins that they're coming out with, I'm not seeing that as much. In the beginning, we had resins that, they really dusted bad. And the more they start dusting, dusting is where, you've got that friction in it.
Yep.
It's creating this dust, and that dust eventually starts leaking out. So at one point you get a nice tight grip, and then it starts powdering up and starting to loosen up. And then that powder gets out.
Figured.
Yeah. And then before you know it, you've got a loose fig all over the place.
Yeah.
The new stuff that they're doing is more ABS like. So
Lego. Sorry.
Yeah.
I hear ABS. My brain goes Lego.
But you, with that, you have more of a flexibility to it, and less of this rigidity that goes that direction. So
yep. Now that totally makes sense. So if you're going to be making figs like you are, and we'll see later, out of this material, then that's the way to go, is with a metal, I hear. Real quick, Renders is saying, great job on that middle chest engine. Makes it really pop. Absolutely. Instead of just sort of abs. It was kind of an odd design, odd choice on their part, in my opinion. Because all of a sudden you just have a break in the color, right? It's the same sculpt, just silver abs. But that's,
I just saw them and I was like, these guys get it.
Hey guys. Yeah.
These guys get it. Let's reach out to them, and so it was great. I love doing it. Their son loves it. I sent him a Karza, and they made their own. They made their own Karza Centaur, and they did a different tail. They did more of a devil tail, like what Andromeda has. So I
haven't seen that.
Yeah,
I'll have to look at that.
It's on their Instagram page.
Okay, and that's boss fights. I love it. We're calling audibles because we need to, because that's the kind of day it is. Ooh, look at this guy. Oh yeah, look at those. Are these Armies of Ashmore? Oh wait, sorry, that was a little shade. Let's see, whereabouts? That's for you, Adam.
Is this boss fight or is this Vitruvian?
Oh, Vitruvians. Got it.
Yeah.
Vitruvian hacks. One word.
Vitruvian. Yeah, there you go.
Well, these are hashtags, but let's see what comes up. Oh God, Dare to Dream. Look at these guys. Look at that. Here's an audible. Damn. Wow. Hello, Sizemore. I'm definitely following you, and I'm definitely gonna add those to my links. See, you can see the full backstage. That's what I do. Look at that. We got a Crystar. People have been saying Crystar. Might be that. In my head, it was always Crystar. We got Adam Power here. We got a Warlord, and we've got a Battle Beast. That is cool.
That is very.
That's cool. I need to definitely look a little bit more at these Vitruvian Hacks customs because I know people are, you know, it's a whole other world. Look at this. Sizemore 77. You just made it as part of the impromptu show today. God, we got some
Wow.
Bravestar. We got some Masters of the Universe, Cartoon Dungeons and Dragons,
Mumra.
Thundercats. This is for Thanos, some Black Star, and some Visionaries. Look at that.
That's very cool.
Man. Sizemore 77 custom action figures.
I gotta
Copy
follow
link
this.
address, drop it into the chat.
Yes.
Definitely check those out. You just made the show.
Yes.
So I don't actually know. Let's see where. No. Anyway,
Oh, you'll know whenever you see it, and it'll be in there somewhere, but you'll find it. This is cool, man. Space Ghost.
this is our childhood right here. This is exactly what I've been saying. It's like, man, I need figures of these old Hanna-Barbera like action characters, man. Blue Falcon, oh, Dino Mutt, Space
I've not seen
Ghost.
these. These are amazing.
Are we gonna get like some Herculoids here in a second? Because my brain's gonna explode. Look at that, man. We got the Defenders of the Earth. I love it. I love that this randomly. So, oh man,
Wow.
I love customizers. All right. Anyway, perfect. Thank you for bringing me here, FanAgain. Abe Froman. Thank you. No, seriously, that is fantastic stuff. Not sure where the Vitruvian is. Yeah, Dan Larson's been. Oh, here you go. See, it just goes to boss fight. Anyways, we get the idea. Well, I'll have to look at that another time. But that, you know, kind of brings up. So you're saying that he, that Justin, they did their own version of
their own custom. Yeah, nothing they'll sell. He said at this point, they have. He's been very busy. This guy has been super busy. He has been from Massachusetts to Texas and back and over to China, I think, either China or Japan, to one of the fests over there. I mean, just he's all over the place right now. So yeah, he's got a lot in the works. Well, hello, son.
Is that Xander?
That would be Xander.
Oh, I see it. Zahalo. Thanks for showing up and love your work, man. Real quick, as far as choosing in terms of which Micronauts homage figures I need to get, see, highly articulated understands why not just all of them. Anyways, because that gets us into trouble, Adam, and you know how that goes. How's it going, Kenzo? All right, let's go ahead and move on. So anyways, was that the first one? That was the first one. Fascinating. Red Sonja looking awesome. We took a little trip, side trip to Vitruvian Hacks Customs. But now we're going to talk about this thing. So this is the FJ Toys Red Ribbon Robot. And I know I'd seen this come up a couple weeks ago, and this was something you wanted to check in about. What is it that draws you, drew your attention to this fun guy?
He's got this feel of like he should be in a Mega Man cartoon or manga. But then you also take a look at it, and it kind of gives you that feel of it's got a little bit of a micro to it. You know, it's got that feel to it.
Yep.
But like for
micro meaning Micronauts. Sorry,
yeah, Micronauts.
It's going to come up a lot, folks.
Yeah, Takara. You know, I'll get it out of the way. I say it so many times. They have inspired so much and so many properties, and some of these properties don't even realize it. I mean, Takara is, as you've mentioned many times, Takara is where we got our Transformers. They came from Diaclones. And Diaclones are still made. Guys on the webs are still showing off theirs that they're purchasing new. And you go over there and you take a look at them, and they're just amazing. But you know, so many properties come from that, and that, you know, this might lean a little bit more towards Mega Man, Astro Boy, that sort of thing. But I mean, that's kind of where they got their start. Was through that whole what did we call it back in the day? Japanimation.
Yeah. People did refer to it as that. Yeah, Japanimation. I remember that.
You know, my mother and my father, I have absolutely no idea how they had the insight to start buying us things. It started For the most part, I think maybe they got the idea in California, because California always has been like the best spot to be able to get your Japanese imports. Either one of the coasts, but definitely California. But
Yep.
whenever we moved back to Indiana, one of my first toys that I had that really brings a memory back is my giant Mazinger, my Shogun Warrior.
Yep.
Yeah, I had Mazinger. My brother had Raideen. We had their die cast to match them. It was, and there you go again. This was back in 74, 75, maybe 76. And we had just a couple of years later, we had the die cast of them. Well,
Yep.
Brave Raideen transformed.
I remember that. You lie down, you lay him down, and
you put his legs would come up and go back, and then you close his guard up, and he'd become the whatever bird that was. But there you go, there it is. That's probably one of the first Transformers to ever land on our shores. So it's just I
see it here. Yeah, and I totally see the connection, the look of these things, and of course, we're all influenced by everything that's come before, often, intentionally or not, and it maybe just becomes part of the design language. But even just the sort of joints of this thing, this looks incredibly fun. I love that this here, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a Dragon Ball connection to this thing, which is why they do the job of showing the SH Goku there. And they kind of hide it. And they sort of show him inside. So I'm thinking that might be where it is, because they even point out, hey, just FYI, it's a great fit for your SHF figs. And if you can't tell, that might be Goku. But yeah, you named it in terms of a Mega Man, a little bit of an Astro Boy thing going on. So many, like, what was the name of the giant robot? Was it Giant Robo with the kind of like pyramid or Sphinx looking head? I don't know.
Something like that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I used to watch it on TV.
This thing is so cool. And it, fits these little figures. And so there's a really great review on it up at Lagoland, Lago of the Toy Migos. He kind of takes this thing through its paces. And actually, I think he does explain that breakdown of the sort of connection of where it might be. I'm thinking that it's a Dragon Ball thing, and he would know more so than I. So anyway, very cool, fun, posable.
Yeah, it just looks like fun. It looks like it belongs on my son's Mega Man shelf back there.
Look at that. Anyway, check that out, and let's go ahead and move on to the next. So the next thing is by Bujubu, aka Mega Custom X, and they just posted yesterday, again, a pre-order announcement all throughout February and March. There's these new things, like constantly another one of these talented makers who's just like got ideas, is inspired by the toys that they're playing with. In this case, this fully into Masters of the Universe Origins. Hey, Adam, if you want to go down a rabbit hole, you might want to check out Masters of the Universe Origins customizers, who are making all sorts of really cool things that you can do with your figures. So I don't know what these are from. I don't know if they're particularly like these feel very Eternian Filmation. I don't know if there's a specific reference.
They do.
I'm thinking they might be, like, because there's the shot here of them fighting Fisto. So it might have been like one of those episodes that has escaped my brain.
They look familiar.
Yeah. And so I'm absolutely oh, there you go. Yes. Thank you, Real Robo Tribe. That's what I thought. Giant Robo in Japan, giant robot in the USA. But yeah, and I know people have gotten these kits. So he got the Black Star kit from Bujubu, and I've seen his figure of them making out of Origins parts. These are all like non-articulated, just really cool. He does the one and then does the reflection.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you call that when you flip it in Illustrator? And it's called, anyways. So it's like the mirror version, basically. So you get multiple figs. I think there's 3 original sculpts, and then they're all just sort of mirrored. You can see this is an Origins Whiplash with a custom head. This would be the Lords of Power, Beast Man, and you kind of see what's going on there.
They look so familiar.
Again, I'm just intrigued and appreciate like this whole new world where people can get toys, design toys like yourself, and then just put them out there and you can throw them up on your shelf. I'll tell you right now, they're not cheap, but these are full on people's work, man. This is not mass produced stuff.
Yeah.
Fairly bespoke, if you will, if you consider making toys specifically for people who customize origins, bespoke. But here you go. So it's, he's in Europe. So this is not cheap for this whole set of the pieces that you need for these, except for the bodies. This is for all 6. Oh no, these are just for the orcs. Sorry. And then if you wanted the monster kit, they're here. So they're not cheap, but just to give you a sense, these are there. And I know from Kenzo that if you join, I believe that their Patreon, they've started releasing some of the older things, STL files. So I know that's something you're familiar with, and doing some cool stuff. The little dudes, according to Johnny, feel very Henson-esque. They do feel like Dark Crystal, but I'm pretty sure they're, here you go, the renders. They're from the 1983 Masks of Power mini comic. There you go. So they came out of the Motu mini comic, Masks of Power. Right. So all good, Star. Thanks for coming through. Great to see you. Yep, renders straight from the mini comics. And I love that, man. The things that we're not necessarily getting from Mattel, other people are filling that, that need. So Kenzo's saying, yep, I belong to his Patreon, and you get 5 print files a month, which is awesome. So anyway, I love this. Yes, let's get some Micronauts, some big old Micronauts. And if you follow the channel, which I know you do, Star, FanAgain's the one who gave me that 6-inch bug that's up on one of my shorts right now. So anyway, that's Bujubu Mega Custom X. Let's move on. A couple of days ago, this was on Instagram. A giant war rhino. It's called the Wild War Giant Horn Rhinoceros. And you can actually order this on 5K Toys. And there's the page, and you can take a quick look. It's a lot of the same images, but that was the original post. So you can actually buy it, just the rhino, and it's a big one, right? I think it's like 14 inches, 36 centimeters, I think was roughly 13, 14 inches from horn to tail. And it's just a cool looking beast. I don't totally know, but Patrick Chow, who posted this stuff, is also the same Patrick Chow who posts all the D20 stuff, which are the rhino and the boar that I have and love, the griffin that was recently shared. Right on. But this is apparently a whole other brand. I don't know if it's D20, but clearly it's a different line because it's got more of the tech sci-fi thing, right? So not fully sure how the relationship is, but it's cool. I would, it's a I called it a rhino rider, right? Instead of dino riders, it's full on like that style of just like, clunky sci-fi armor.
I fully expect to see Dino Riders pop up anytime.
Oh Good yeah, well, I'm pretty damn excited for Creative Beast Studios. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking, but it's their version, Cyberzoic, that I supported on there. Anyway, this is wild. So you've got your big companies. You've got your brand new folks doing like Kickstarters, and then there's whole other companies out there overseas, in this case, who will just announce this like 4 days ago, and then it over on 5K, and I think this is even on Big Bad Toy Store for pre-order. Just that's just kind of the world we're in right now, right? It's like there's a lot of companies vying for your toy attention and your toy dollars. So
yeah.
This is the kind of thing that's totally right up my alley,
man.
But it's and I know these aren't the cheapest things. I often like for my wolf, for my boar, I'm constantly impressed by the level of detail. It reminds me of like Legion's figures, the amount of the sculpting and the craft that's all up in there, and the paint jobs, and you can kind of see it here.
Yeah.
So I've never felt like, yes, it's pricey, and if not everyone can do it, and if you're in a position to do it or willing to do it, I've never gotten one of these things and go, man, this is a cheap hunk of plastic. Like I've never felt that. Like you see the paint, the artistry, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
anyway, that's what I tell myself anyway.
We all
Thanos is saying, I do wish this thing had a saddle or a gunner seat. Yeah, it's unclear what exactly is going on with this. You can kind of see it here. It's like clearly there's no saddle, but I don't know if you just sort of stand on there and like I don't know. Maybe it's a robot. I mean, you got to be Anyway, you got to be some kind of a daredevil to be willing to sit on the back of the rhino, but whatever.
Maybe you could get somebody to stand at the very back of it.
Yeah.
And just stand on his rump and they could fire.
Mm-hmm. that I'm telling you, that dude, that person is psycho. Anyways, check it out. I love this. Curious if anybody here is interested. Rick is like, I'm down for an elephant. Okay. So when the elephant happens, you're there. I love the idea, man. I'd love more of a mastodon, but that would be amazing. Agreed. This thing is pretty epic. Renders is saying it's an exciting time. If you want to make something, you're totally empowered to go do it. We have the tools. We have the talent. We have the power. No, 100%. So, and not yet star, but it's coming. So yeah, let's go. A chariot would be dope. See, that's the thing. A lot of these things I look at like, if I were in that maker space, part of me would think about like, what can I add on to an existing like popular toy where there's like an install base, people got it already, but like what can I add on that would add value? And so like things like a chariot for this thing, or the boar, or the wolf that I have, right? Or like stuff for the bear that's coming out. That's my thing. Or like people doing a couple more accessories, or like props for stuff like Mythic Legions or even Masterverse, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Just I just sort of wonder when a lot of these new companies pop up, they're asking quite a bit for people to like maybe pause or like take a diversion from their love for Masters of the Universe or G.I. Joe Classified or Transformers and be like, I have no idea what this rhino's from. Like I have no connection, but I'm going to get it. It's only like the wackos like me who are willing to do that right now. Cause I don't know. I like, that's just where my brain is at. It's less about the nostalgic ties. So then when I go that
help
way,
sell these things.
Was that?
I said, you definitely help sell these things.
Well,
with your shorts that you do, man.
Because again, I don't, maybe it's because misery loves company. So we can all be poor and have cool toys together. But
yes.
Yeah, it's like, I wonder about like some of the stuff that Bujubu Mega Custom X does to kind of like enhance your Masters of the Universe collection, right? That's where I'm thinking. But anyway,
that mentality is over on the Micronaut fan base.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. Let's go on.
Imagine a Black Panther with this rhino. Oh God, hell yes. Wakanda forever, man. Mammoth. Yep. Let's make it. Highly articulated. Says, my frustration with Wild War and other similar toys is that they seem reluctant to show what they have planned for the line. I need more than one offering to decide I want to. Yeah, no, totally. I get that. And we've seen that recently with him, where it's like he buying one or two from a line is not something that he does. Like he kind of wants to build around. He recently found some like some Motu Origins for like $3 American, $4 Canadian. Wow. And like, of course, he grabbed a bunch, right? And so I get that if you're kind of a person who wants to build a line, this kind of thing that's happening out of these companies here. Look at that face mask. It's maybe not your thing because they're not necessarily building out a line. Like they did that wolf and they did the boar and maybe they connect. But again, I think, I don't think they're necessarily thinking about it as a line. So
what's going on with those feet? Okay, we see
these feet
got removable.
So it looks like these original feet here, and then it looks like they are replaceable. Well, see this one, it's weird. This one here looks like maybe it's on top of the existing foot.
Yeah.
But I think no, I think these got to be replaceable feet because that's what they did with, again, assuming they're made by the same companies. The wolf that I have, let me think. No, actually, they have armor that goes on top of the leg. So I don't know. I wouldn't put it past them. They definitely seem a lot more comfortable with the idea of people just sort of switching parts in and out. So I can imagine those feet being specifically armored feet, but I do not know.
That thing is gnarly.
As good as mine. Look at the paint though, man. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry. Let's
yeah.
get off this and let's go check out some people. I've shared this before. And Brutal Realms. So they keep updating. So this was the one that KJ and I went over these couple of posts, and I appreciate they reached out and they saw it and they're like, threw this up there, and they have mentioned that the Kickstarter is coming. They gave me a date, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna err on the side of caution and not throw out when that date is, so I don't know what's public or not. But it's soon. So if you've been watching this and you've been curious about this line and these figures, it's definitely going to be a Kickstarter, much to Thanos's chagrin, because he's trying to say no to the Kickstarter in 2024. But if you're interested in this kind of thing and you like what they're trying to do with a brand new line, you like the idea of makers kind of like becoming creators, you have to support that kind of thing, which, there's a bunch of us out there. Some people genuinely like this stuff. Sometimes people are just genuinely intrigued by this new landscape and want to support. It's coming. It's coming like pretty soon in the next couple of months, potentially. So at least that's where they were thinking. So this was just posted a couple of days ago. This was after the last show. Again, slowly showing progress. And I'm, as much as I love to play with toys, I love the sort of art of toys and the engineering of it all. Kind of playing with these
I'm an
different
articulation junkie.
Yeah, and just sort of seeing how I love how the sausage is made. Like I'm the same with movies, all that stuff. I love just kind of learning this stuff. But
Yeah.
this is them kind of testing out the skirt armor and different materials and cuts and stuff to make it flexible.
Stuff is amazing. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I want to know if he's going to do like a body blank, because I would love to do because a Croyer is
totally
technically considered a black man.
Like the Marvel style Acroyer.
Yeah. And I would love to get a hold of one of these bodies and put in a
totally has
Croyer.
that facial features, right? Like this one in particular, right?
Yeah, I'd have to do a different head sculpt so that we could get rid of the nose.
The nose,
because the Croyer has that weird nose thing. But I mean,
like what they did to the Sphinx. But yes,
that would be amazing to put an Acroyer armor over.
I totally see that, man. That would be fantastic. Anyway, just I want to shout out to them. Keep an eye out. Again, part of what I want to do is signal boost some great stuff. So Brutal Realm, check it out real quick. Let me say hello to folks who just jumped in. Hey, Toy Mama, great to see you. Thanks for coming through. Allison, Troy, always great to have you here. So much fun hanging out. Let's see. And I think, all right. Let's see what else we've got going on. Okay, I wanted to show this with KJ last week, but there was a lot of stuff we just ran out of time. But again, in this world, like yourself, people messing with 3D programs, doing some sculpting, printing things out, and putting toys out there. So this is Rebel 3D, who actually, I believe they only sell they only sell the files. So you can see them here on Cults 3D. And so you can order the files and print them out yourself is sort of the way. It's a DIY toy in that way. So you can see them here. $4.31 to download the file, and you go get your resin. And basically what you can do with these is add the head. So they're built like Mad Balls back in the day, but they actually fit. They're pegged to fit Masters of the Universe Origins figures. You can create just, if you've got some extra stuff, that's what these are, right? These are some painted custom heads. Right, and you've got some heads lying around. You just throw them on there. And then you see a little bit more of the, Lego Technic style friction pin.
Yep.
So you got like a couple points of articulation. I believe the legs and the torso are all connected, and you've got that head there. And if you're handy, you could tailor that ball joint to fit some other stuff.
Yep.
Other heads, and you could probably get real handy and fit those pegs to potentially fit in some arms, like Origin's arms. But cool stuff, just some fun stuff. And again, creativity, man. Creativity and the ability to produce now.
Yeah, those are cool. Those are cool.
I love how that arm goes across the chest. Oh, that was probably for Brutal Realm. Yep. Absolutely, Ray Paz. Yeah, and that's what they really appreciated. And they messaged me that like we understood that, and that I KJ and I named that. So Renders is saying Rebel 3D is the very best Motu weapons. Yeah, I've been looking at their stuff, and the third-party market, top tier in that arena. So if you're going to look at Rebel 3D and search Masters of the Universe, they do custom weapons. I think there's a custom rack in there that I was looking at one point, but I don't have the ability to print. Just sort of looking at it and again appreciating it, and in my brain of what if. I do a lot of window shopping, FanAgain. So
just go find something and holler at me. Say, hey,
I
just bought this. Here it is. Print this out for me
yeah.
and send it to me. I'll get it to you, brother.
Oh man, I may take you up on that someday. Here we go. All right, what else did we got? So that was the cool Oculus Orbis mini body. That's just fun, man. I wasn't a big Mad Balls person, but just it was cool looking. All right, here you go, Star. Loose Collector. We mentioned Red Sonja. I haven't bit on Loose Collector, even though they're like, Kababayan, homies from the Philippines, and is doing really cool stuff. I appreciate it, but I haven't been able to pull the trigger, as they say, or hit that complete order button yet on anything. I've loved looking at their women. They specifically had like this women buck that they've used a bunch of times, and easily one of the toy lines or toy manufacturers who was likely made the most ratio of women to men than any other toy maker. They've done Darna from the Philippines, which is like a Wonder Woman type character from the Philippines. Trece also from a sort of a vampire monster hunter. But they've also done Red Sonja. They've done Witchblade. They've done, what was her name? They did Tarna from the Heavy Metal movie and comics. So I kind of haven't bid on any of those. Then they announced this wolf, and honestly, I was kind of like, man, I've got that Maestro Union Veteran Williams, the white fur version coming in. It's on its way from China right now. And I was like, do I need another wolf? And I mentioned the D20 wolf, but these things are looking really cool. They seem to be really well constructed. There's 4. You like this
black one, man? Nightmare Fuel right there. Look at that. Nightmare Fuel.
Dilim is his name. So Voslak is the white furred. Dilim is the great wolves. The idea is that there's one in the 4 directions of the earth, right? So there's I forget which is north, south, east, and west, but they have some sort of backstory to them too, which is kind of cool. The great wolves. You see them from Loose Collector. Just they seem like they definitely were looking at posability and sculpt. That's their thing. So they did the Hyde figure a while back, gigantic, like beastly Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of their sculpts, like I appreciate them, but not quite my thing. This one feels like a good balance of like really looking at the wolf, trying to do this sort of grotesque and detailed, like veiny kind of like fur details, but not like totally like to the extreme. This is the brown variant. What's this one? It's Garok. Let's see. Garos. So there's the brown one. Yep. So this was the brown one. And then they're all repaints, but the beautifully painted.
Yeah.
I'm buying them. This one you can see like there's they have different heads as well. I thought different sculpts. This one is the one I want, which I'll talk about in a second. I like this one too. So I don't know. And here's the The good news is that you can buy them from a couple different places, like 5K, Big Bad Toy Stores. So 5K has got the black and white ones, and those are going to run you $10 deposit, 68 for second payment plus shipping. I'm in California, so shipping from them, it's super quick when it finally does ship, because I think they've got a warehouse out in, like, I don't know if it's Marina del Rey or somewhere out in that area. But they only have the black and white one. Here you go, some context if you haven't been watching these. This is that Maestro Union Veteran Williams Fury Planet one.
That much bigger. Wow.
Yeah, and so this is McFarlane's Man-Bat, and that's what you got. So you're talking like a little slightly bigger than Ogre Scale, Mythic Legion's Beast. I mean, again, it looks top heavy, so I don't know. We'll see. But usually, like, I cheat that for something like this on the shelf, because they'll be, on 3 or 4, crouching down, one hand on the ground.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. So, yep, they're available for pre-order here on 5K, the black and the white version. Those are still available. If you go to Big Bad Toy Store, their allotment is sold out for Garos, the brown one. Gorgeous stuff. And you see, like, they run down the articulation. And then the one that I actually really wanted, because this is almost a pretty note for note match for my D20 Wolf. I figured like either transformation or like they're part of the same
clan.
Yeah, same clan or something. Who knows? Or
pack.
Yeah,
man.
Same pack. Anyway,
that's a good looking toy, man.
Right? Morocco of the West. There you go. That's Morocco of the West. Let's run it down.
I'm going to be pulling that trigger. I got to have that black one.
Garos of the South and Dilim. Anyway, so here's the other. They're all there, and again, they're pricey, but so if you still want the one that I wanted, you can order directly. The gray one directly from Executive Replicas. So Loose Collector and Executive Replica seems to have a long-standing relationship. The Loose Collector, from my understanding, is more of the design end of things, and the Executive Replica was who was funding that first Tarna figure. I don't know if that relationship's still there, but I don't know what shipping is from these guys, from Executive Replicas. So I don't know. I'm a little shy about it, but we'll see. But I'm with you on the black. If like that's, I'm not sad about that as an option, because it's pretty rad, especially with that cool scar and
dude.
Jet
I showed
black.
that to my sons. And I said the very same thing I said to you: nightmare fuel.
Yeah,
and they were both just like, yes.
Because if that thing was in, you'd just be it'd be a shadow. You wouldn't see it, and you'd probably be bleeding out your neck.
And you could price it with yellow eyes. I'm just thinking of all the shots that Xander will take whenever I get it. Yeah,
that'd be awesome. Star, look at Star. You grabbed the full set off for him. Nice, good job. Respect. Game Quest is saying werewolves are my favorite monster, and these look fantastic. So I've got the Black Wolf pre-ordered. Nice. Yep.
Mine too. Game Quest. Mine too.
Let's see. I did not get the Maestro Union one, but I ordered the gray one of these. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, how many do you need? And this is definitely like, this is a great one. The Veteran Williams looks fantastic, and like people love him so much. And I'm currently like really in love with the Fury Planet stuff. So I'm happy to get that.
I just missed it.
But I'm going to pull the trigger on this. I just need to make some decisions. So yeah. And the ears are different, 2 for one and 2 for the other. So 2 different head sculpts and ears, I guess is what you're saying.
Cool.
Yeah. And BBS does have all 4 colors. Unfortunately, some are sold out, as we saw earlier. Yep, they are that big. Kayla's still here. Maybe she's not. Let's see. And they were sitting on the site for a while. Yeah, I didn't jump into them. So get it from 5K or BBTS. Oh, you're saying Executive. Yeah. I've heard that. 5K? That's why I've kind of paused. And I'll keep checking Big Bad Toy Store, because sometimes people change their minds, pull it out and of their pile of loot sometimes, and so it happens. So I'll take a look and let's move on. Did this is this a part of your childhood, Abe?
I'm looking at it. I'm trying to figure out.
So Tolkien,
Yeah.
Rankin Bass
Oh, okay.
did The Hobbit and Return of the King. And the one character that continues through, actually two characters, Bilbo and Gollum. This is their version of Gollum. And so CB Make has been making Mythic Legions compatible parts to make the characters from it, and has now like gone and tried to do a 5 points figure based on this little guy. And so this was the original render that came out yesterday, sort of as concept art. And then they also posted this prototype today.
That's where I could see the Golem.
Yep. Yes. But this was like the whole frog-like thing was such a, just in my brain. They definitely took their artistic license with it. Which, you know, whatever. I dig it. But it looks like there's way more points of articulation there now. It looks like there's a wrist connection, the arms, the legs, and then the head looks like to be on some kind of up and down movement, maybe left or right. So that's cool. And I've shown these just because I'm big into that Rankin Bass Tolkien stuff, and I love what people are doing with their customs. So anyway.
Xander's wanting to read the books before he watches anything.
Oh.
So
The Hobbit's a quick read. It's definitely like, you know, it's one of those, and then the others not so much. Not so much of a quick read, but yeah.
My older brother was bigger into the Tolkien than I was. But,
were you? Okay. Yeah. See, this guy knows. Real Robo Tribe, I know, grew up with this stuff as well. My precious. But yeah, they had music in those too. Those Tolkien things that are stuck in my brain. Frodo. Anyways, the greatest adventure. Just for those of you that know, you'll know.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah, definitely.
And it's true. It does a little look if you had a long neck, or not long neck, but I remember the little ducky one. For the younger,
I can see it. I can see it without ears. Yeah.
All right. Let's get even weirder, man. Okay, so I was really into like art toys for a little bit. Hold that thought. So I actually have it here. Ashley Wood, because I was going to take pictures. I brought it from work. Back in the day, was it 3A or 3.0? They're now called 3A, I think. So 3.0 would make these things. It's from an Ashley Wood comic called Robots versus Zombies. And, you know, at the time, this level of paint was such a huge deal and just like a cool looking thing with soft goods backpacks. And
that's cool.
So when I saw these things, totally remind me of that kind of art toy back in the day that we would get out here from some of the like toy stores out here in San Francisco, like Giant Robot and oh God, I don't forget the other one off the top. But so this is like this, you know, total like little art piece figure of like a, you know, cosmonaut type character with a Sputnik type vehicle. So a little 6-inch figure by it's a collaboration between Cold Dog and Damn Toy. I just, you know, I love this stuff when people kind of like, you can totally tell this is like based on a 2D sketch or drawing, which we'll get to later, and transformed into 3D without trying to, you know, like make it look too realistic. Or it really is just sort of like, let's take the art direction and style and looseness of the sketch and turn that into a 3D object, which is always super interesting to me because the shapes are always a little wonky.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
This is the figure. It's going to be going up for pre-order soon. And I don't know. Or is it? Yeah, here's all the cool little things, including the Sputnik with a spot for Laika, the dog.
That's cool.
But just, you know, this is that cool retro-futurism thing that like I grew up on. Like, you know, so many of us as kids were convinced that like the future would look a particular way and technology would look a particular way. So I love this stuff. And then they've been putting out like promo videos, which are just awesome. I love the art of it and the looseness of it.
That's wild. That's cool, man.
Isn't that a cool little thing on your shelf? And that animation right there, man. I would have loved watching this as a kid, right? Just like I would have watched the whole show, like, oh,
Totally.
like that old marionette, those old Thunderbird shows. Like, give me this, I'll watch this. Just put some voiceover, I'm good.
Right on.
So there's a 2-pack where you get the. Yep. Look at that. Look at all the little soft goods.
That is neat.
I don't know how he drinks that, but that's okay.
Right. That's awesome. That is cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, man. I love the whole greebly.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. You know, I used to, whenever I first got into doing the figures and everything and starting to mess around with them, I was watching some of the guys that would just scratch build robots. And my mind was just, where are you getting all your greeblies?
Yep.
I'm just like, wow. And they just start putting them together, cut them up, you know, Dremel them, whatever. And at the end of the show, they had, you know, the better part of an entire robot built. And I'm just, but
amazing, right?
Yeah. Guys like that, with that creativity and that thought process going in their head, they just blow my mind. They really do. You guys out there, I applaud you.
Yeah, man. And so then you have to take that and then, in this case, make it production ready. I don't think these are in large numbers or anything, but still, it's got to be, you know, reproducible enough and sellable to the public. So here's the kind of sketches.
I love the telescoping legs.
And totally Jetsons vibes. It is. It's a big one. You know, I'm the worst at that, Ray. I'm just like, ooh, rhino. Not, it's like, yeah, sure, 13 centimeter, whatever. Oh. You know, I'm just like, and then it comes, and I'm like, I guess I'll figure it out later. My saving grace is I stay far away from the Eternias and the Cat's Lairs and the turtle vans. So look at that stuff though, man. It's just like, painting, and that's a good time right there. Anyway, check those out.
That is so cool.
They're also, of course, because parts reuse is a thing. You gotta get their money back. Like zombies, yeah. What happens when you try to drink that soda and then you die and you get infected? And you know, I love that cracked.
Look at that, man.
There's so much storytelling, right? And every like just little thing. Like there's a story here with that crack. There's a story here with the wear and tear on that outfit and that, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, you got your before, your after, and that story in between, man. That's where's your imagination going to take you?
That's so cool. Good. All right, let's switch gears a little bit to some art. And so this week, was that a week and a half now? Masters of the Universe Revolution, the sort of second season to the Revolution version of Masters of the Universe, came out. So it's the show run by Kevin Smith and executive produced by Ted Biaselli, Rob David. There's a couple of others that I'm blanking on. Sorry. But I was way into the show. Have you seen either Revolution, both of them?
I binged both of them.
Gotcha.
I binged both of them. They're
like right before this 2 Thursdays ago, like in anticipation of this, or?
Oh no, I whenever let's see, in the last 2 weeks I did.
Nice. Well, so it was like fresh for you. It was all like one big story.
Oh yeah, man. It's all very much in there. Very much in there. Whenever you were showing the Origins Fisto earlier, I was like, that line that he had said. I'm not gonna say it. It was just funny. It was just funny.
Yep.
Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about.
It's cool. Yeah, and it's funny, man. That line upset vocal people on the internet. So for folks who've been following me here or in the conversations that I've had around Revelation and Revolution, I do something that I try to stay away from, something that I've seen a lot of people do. Like they start talking about it and say like, oh, there was a ton of controversy and a lot of the fans are like, I don't know that it's a lot, because we live in the world of the internet. Like certain people are loud and, you know, voices get out there. So I don't know the numbers.
First.
Yeah, and also, but I'm just saying it could go either way. It could be truly like that was the majority of people or not. My thinking is go check it out for yourself, see what you think. And when I've seen people do that, at least if, and it might be my circles, like a lot of people really, really enjoy this, especially like those folks who are looking for like a modern day take on these things that we love as kids. So sounds like you enjoyed it then. Seems like
Oh,
the,
well, yeah, I had heard that there was controversy about it,
yeah,
and Netflix has caught a lot of grief.
yeah.
And I'll be the first one to say, I've heard it all,
Mm-hmm.
but I've had Netflix. I've had Netflix since I could still get a disc.
Yeah, me too.
So, I'm not giving up my Netflix, over silliness.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to do a lot more than that to lose my business. But yeah, I did have to admit that this did keep me away from it a little bit. But I mean, the more I thought about it, I'm just like, it's Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
I might not agree with everything that comes out of his mouth, but
Mm-hmm.
everything that comes out of his lens, I'm in love with for the most part. But
Yeah.
I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, and I know that because I've listened to his interviews about where he's pitched ideas for different
Mm-hmm.
comic books, and
Mm-hmm.
where people have come to him and asking him to, and the controversy that has rose out of all that. And I love what the guy does, and I know that he has integrity, and I know that he's
Yep.
not going to do the shows wrong. And I absolutely loved it. I saw, because keep in mind, okay, I'm a 70s child. I was born in 1970. So I would come home, I would go to my grandma's after school, and I would hurry up and get there so I
Yep.
didn't miss He-Man.
Yep.
So I remember all the cheesiness, uh I don't remember him because this was after my collecting time. Ram, the
Rat
Ram
Man.
head, Ram Man,
Uh-huh.
his spring legs.
Yeah, those are
I
great. You press them down,
Yeah,
that little
I mean,
side button.
I remember that stuff, and he included it into
Yep.
the show.
Yep.
He did such a fabulous job with it. And there was some talk. I heard you guys talking about how they had two different voices for Skeletor and for
Yes.
oh, help me with his name.
Real quick before we, just so you know, if it sounds like we might reveal some things if you haven't watched it yet, just a heads up, we're going to talk fairly loosely and things may get spoiled. So you've been warned,
Sorry, gang.
and go for it. You're
Okay.
saying two different voices for Skeletor and
And what's the brother's
Keldor?
name? Yeah,
Yeah.
Keldor. Uh, I also have the box set of the 2002 release of
Mhm.
Master of the Universe.
Yep.
And in there, Keldor is also the brother.
Yep.
But I think having two different voicings, having Mark Hamill do one, and then my old brain, Captain Kirk.
Yeah. Oh, my old brain. Let's compete. Whose brain is older and more tired? Captain Kirk, which is hey, what am I trying to? William Shatner. Yeah.
Woo! We caught that one together.
I had to get it out. I had to do the voice as best as I could. Yes.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, it completely describes the duality
Yeah.
of that character. And
Yep.
I think Kevin was just brilliant and spot on with that. I think he did a fabulous job. I think that was
I
so
had a great
smart.
time. Yeah, and it's the whole team. And so so I'll shift a little, but before we get there, let me just because there's some great comments here. So as far as who is getting this as a back tattoo, Thanos, I gotta ask, were you referring to this picture or were you referring to one of the things from this one? Either way, if anybody does, you're awesome, and I will gladly feature your tattoo here. 2, if it's this one, it's get this, or go buy yourself an old van and airbrush this guy on the side of it.
That would be
You're
awesome.
you're living your best life. Open it up, smoke comes out, whatever, but you're living your best life if you do that.
Rock and roll.
So it definitely was Motu Madness, and I got to spend some time with Lucha Johnny, which I'll talk about, and Kayla over on the GTFO channel, and Allison and Thanos and a bunch of other folks. And Nate. So this is the art reveal by Nate Barch, who is the artist who did a lot of the packaging for the Masterverse line and continues to do them as he's available. He did the promo art for Revolution, including the big first poster that they usually do. That's a little bit more hand-drawn. Well, how do I say this? Not a full painting. And then these that are full-on digital paintings, like. And so that's what this is. This is total spoiler territory. If you didn't know, this is these are outfits that happen in the show. And somebody else pointed out some of the details here that we'll talk about. But like I said, I had a great time. Oh, he also does the Four Horsemen. He's on staff now at Four Horsemen because he does all of their artwork for their packaging and marketing stuff. And so Render says, Nate's an awesome dude. Was fortunate enough to pick up a canvas print of his at Legion's Con of the Headless Horseman. Yep, it absolutely is a masterpiece. I've had the pleasure of meeting Nate back in May at the Mythic Meetup up here in Sacramento. Super down to earth. We were just talking art, Lego, life, Legions. And then got to talk with him last Friday over on Johnny and Kayla's channel, GTFO. We got to talk about, because he's actually really good friends with Ted Biaselli, the one of the executive producers of the show. And so we brought them both on together, especially because he himself had a hand in he was instrumental, I'll say, in raising the popularity of a particular character that gets brought up, the green version of Tila. So anyway, I'm saying all that. Well, let me continue. Ray is saying you have that new He-Man logo is here. Yep, and it's a nice nod to the CGI show that came out in the on Netflix as well. And we talked about that with Ted in particular and Nate. They both seem to have some thoughts about it because they both are obviously love the H and the traditional, I guess, more 80s He-Man. Right. But they acknowledge, like, yeah, this makes sense. We got to move things forward. And there's story reasons why this makes sense. There's I guess more behind the scenes reasons why this makes more sense. So and yeah, as far as like the complainers, like everyone's totally entitled to their opinion. I don't have an issue with that. Even Ted was saying, look, I'm down with people having critique about story or craft or anything like that. When it comes to the other stuff that just seems like it's coming from a different place, like their beliefs or ideologies, where they're frustrated or offended or maybe whatever, making something out of nothing. It's like that, no time for. But if you're watching this and you're genuinely like, I was expecting something more like the Motu that I like, that I'm used to, and it didn't work for you, fair enough. But the notion, like what I struggle with is the notion of like, it's bad. It's like,
is it?
And it excites me that Motu is here for new audiences. So here's Adam. I only found there was controversy in the last week and couldn't care less. It was an awesome show. Yeah, Nolan, I don't know if I highlighted this, but there's always the people that are perpetual complainers. There's that too. I mean, it's the internet, right? And folks are loud. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we were talking about Dora Laxon's Rainbow Bright tattoos. I can't say it enough. These figures and these costumes are going to be great when they come to Masterverse, 100%. I'm all about it. Masterverse is kind of my main Motu line. I have definitely been a little bit more pickier and choosier, but less so than most. But I really get excited by the new stuff. I get a little bit bummed when we've already gotten like so many different versions of Man at Arms. I don't necessarily need a new one, that kind of thing that I've skipped on. But yeah, and so as far as the spoiling, we're not spoiling anymore. But as Kenzo says, if you haven't watched it by now, too bad. Yeah, he straight up.
I can hear him saying that with the Skeletor laugh.
The next day did reveal this custom. I want to say is the next day of a reveal at the end of it, and of a certain character seeing the Cosmic Enforcers at the very end.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So I was like, yeah. Anyway, yeah, folks are telling us it's Shatner. Okay, I think we're good. would work get mad if I had this airbrush on the side of the van. That'd be amazing. Thanos drives folks to their their appointments or medical appointments and stuff. Imagine seniors getting into this van. I don't know. I don't know. Be kind of rad. Anyways, it was great to have this conversation. And on that note, let's go ahead and shift gears. And man, we're going, man. I'm just having a good time hanging out with you, man. It's been a while. It's been too long.
Absolutely, brother.
Let's talk. Let's see. Oh, wait, what was that? Viewing pleasure. Let's talk about recommendations on some stuff that you folks might want to check out. And so obviously Masters of the Universe Revelation, we've already talked about. And I'm starting to do this thing. This is a new thing that I'm putting up on Instagram, and I'm calling it the TG Guide because, you know, I'm so stuck in my ways, FanAgain. You know, like you, I was born in the 70s, 76. And the TV Guide was a staple, you know, because we had so many channels back in the day. Right. I think I had like 3 or 4, depending where you lived. But we needed a whole little magazine, book form magazine. And they would have these, you know, interviews with stars about the shows, etc. So basically, like, I look at what we do now with us talking about toys or shows. I was like, man, like, that's all we're doing. So I'm like, hey, here's a TG Guide, folks. So toys, geekery, and other fun listings. So this is the January to February 24. And on our cover, we've got the folks from GTFO. We've got Kayla there. We've got Lucha Johnny, and we've got Prince Adam, because over on GTFO, they've been spending a lot of time doing Revolution, watch and rewatch. So if you're not familiar with that channel, oops, that's not right. If you're not familiar with that channel, you should definitely check out GTFO. And so as you can kind of see, there's been a series of stuff. So it started back on January, I think 19th. Yeah, over here where we did with myself, with Kayla and Johnny, of course, and Allison Troy, and Chris, Shiny Plastic People. Oz was on there. Thanos was on there. Oh wait, that's not quite right. But this one. This was just with Allison and myself. We did Revelation, and we kind of broke down Revelation Part 1. So we did a rewatch of that. Then we did Revelation Part 2. Again, same crew. And then Oz joined us and all those other folks that I listed earlier. So you can check all this content out over there. I think I do have versions of them on my channel as well. But watch them over there. At GTFO. Then we started talking about Revolution and started breaking those down. And then last Friday, super special, we got to sit down with, like I said, Nate Barch and executive producer Ted Biaselli. Ted's no slouch. Like, that's the thing about Ted and Teddy's work. It's like, man, I've been watching this guy take things that I loved as a kid, whether it was like Wednesday from Addams Family. They did a show about that. They took Motu. They took One Piece, the old anime, made it a live action. Now he's working on Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was a post-college thing for me, but I loved. So, you know, this person is just had his hands in bringing a lot of the things that I love and trying to make them current and accessible in 2023, 2024. And we had a great time breaking it down with them. And there's a lot of really good stuff if you're a big Motu nerd, just kind of like trying to understand the lore connections and implications of the story. We talked a little bit about like their thinking about story decisions and costume decisions, all that kind of stuff. Nate was there to kind of talk about the artwork and the promo stuff and how he goes about doing that stuff. His history with the Green Goddess, or the Green Tila, if you will. So there's a lot of really good stuff in this interview. And, you know, while you're there, you might want to check out this unboxing of a really fun, expensive play set. So that was that. So I don't know. I don't even know if this resonates. Like the beginning of our show where I'm doing like the MTV thing. I don't even know if people understand what that is or recognize, or like, you know, I know some people do.
I'm pretty sure there's a decent ratio of us old guys.
Yeah.
And the younger crowd. And if we don't teach them, who's gonna?
Fair enough.
We got to let them know where all this stuff came from. And, you know,
like Micronauts, which we'll get back to soon.
Exactly.
But the other thing I wanted to highlight was the other cover story is this guy up here. If you're not familiar, I don't know if folks know. Do you know him?
Steady crafting.
Yeah, okay, you know Steady Crafting.
Oh.
So the Craftsman, Steady Crafting, that's the name of the channel, and he did this really cool video last week or maybe earlier this week, all about Sofubi. You know, Japanese soft vinyl toys, and definitely something that I think people should check out if you're interested in toys in general. Does a really good job of like breaking down some history, using footage from a documentary that he got permission from. Introduces you to, you know, just how the toys are made, the history of them, you know, kind of like the unique features of said toys, and then kind of the more like modern world where there are new folks kind of doing this as their thing, you know. Steady Craft, and the Craftsman is like making his toys and always kind of just showing like how to do things, which I love. And like it's all about experimentation and showing how to, you know, just play, experiment. But he kind of runs down some of the like not unlike what we do here, of just really breaking down some of the newer Sofubi folk that are doing things and where you can find them. So highly recommend that as a watch. Yeah, check it out.
He's awesome. He is the one that demonstrated to me in one of his videos about injection molding. I had been so interested in home injection molding. And that's exactly what he does. I mean, the guy's great. This is a total YouTube fail though, because I should have gotten an alert for this because I want to see this.
No, 100%. I haven't been getting his alerts either, and I think it's just he doesn't post like as regularly as some. So I think the algorithm is just cruel like that. Even though it's like I love this stuff, and so
yeah, there's very little of his videos that I haven't seen. I absolutely love the Craftsman. The Craftsman is he's just too cool. He's just too cool.
Yep, super entertaining, and again, just like really breaks this stuff down in a way that feels like you easily understand it, and just it's cool to watch, even if you're never gonna try this stuff.
Yeah,
check it out. Check
yeah,
it out. Check
absolutely.
it out.
And I mean, it's so interesting that you don't even know how long the show is. I have never once sat there and went, "Is this over yet?" Never.
Yeah, no, he does really great stuff.
Yeah.
Lucha, I'm assuming you're referring to this. Thank you. You did a really great job on that photo shoot, man. Yeah, you and Adam were kind of moving around a little too much, but we got the shot. Perfect for the cover. Good job. Okay, let's go ahead and let's circle around a little bit more. And the last sort of section of the show is always That's What's Up. And so That's What's Up is where I feature maybe one artist and a little bit more of their work. And I kind of want to start with this. So let's see if I'm bringing up the right thing. I think I am. So you introduced me to Brian Vox's work.
Brian is amazing.
So Brian Vox, why don't you go and explain to us about Brian Vox's work with Protectors of Inner Space.
Well, here's my 2 copies.
I
have all of his stuff, I have all the digital, but these are my 2 physical copies right now. Anybody that's into the Micronauts can, whether it's Marvel's Micronauts or if it is just the Takara Micronauts, the toy line, this has got kind of all of that there for you. It really, it is just, and his art, the storytelling, they're not super long reads. These are small books. They're like a small graphic novel, each one of them. It's just, it takes you back. It really does.
They're written like not quite like graphic novels though, right? They're graphic. They're graphic heavy, so you see a lot of the imagery. But then it's written.
It's a story. They have a lot of graphics to them, but there's not a lot of graphics there. The graphics you get from the complete covers, all the complimentaries. And he and I have talked about this. The covers allude to other stories. But that hasn't happened yet. He hasn't been able to put all that together yet.
Yeah.
He's actually working on an interesting project right now, where he might be putting together some sort of publication for articles and different things.
Okay.
I just got the notification on Facebook today
Okay.
from him. I haven't reached out and talked to him yet. Here at the end of summer last year, I sent Brian all of the first lineup. He
Of your
has
figures.
figures. Yeah, I sent him my original figures, and that was that. He's got them in his collection now, and it just means the world to me, because he gave me the inspiration. I mean, even the inspiration for the O-ring figures is still this. It's based off of Protectors of Inner Space. Those figures, those characters in there, like.
Let me rewind just a little bit. So Micronauts is a brand that we talked about. Originally started as Takara Tomy Toys that was picked up by Mego and brought to the United States and sold as the Micronauts. They then did a licensing deal for the entertainment piece of it, because that's what you did back in the day. You had to have like a comic book or cartoon. They worked with Marvel, it's a little comic book company, and so Marvel did their thing and built out like Mount Lowe and other writers and artists eventually developed these characters and were a part of the Marvel 616 universe, the comic book universe. They were firmly a part of the actual like Marvel lore. So if you've watched Ant-Man and Quantumania, and they end up going to the Quantumverse, in the comics, Marvel Comics, that was called the Microverse, which is where the Micronauts lived. And so, unfortunately, because of licensing and rights, like Marvel hadn't had the rights to be able to do anything with the Micronauts name. They still retain some of their characters that they made. So this is Brian Vox here is an author who was a huge fan of this stuff and kind of wanted to like, it's not unlike what Kevin Smith and Rob David and company did with Masters of the Universe, where they had this existing filmation stuff, existing motion picture stuff, the Marvel comics, the Star comics, and the DC comics, and the whatever, everything Motu, and kind of like worked it into a single story. And that's what Brian does. So when you're hearing FanAgain talking about like, if you're into the Marvel stuff, there's definitely things in here that are from the sort of Marvel telling of things. But then if you're into the toys, especially if you look at these covers, like these are the toys. There's an actual toy that was roughly that, like obviously redesigned and stuff. But these are the which is my issue with the Marvel comics, is we didn't always get all the bits of the toys in there. So you see in their armor, and he really built this story around these travelers who get brought together. And I love how this story worked out. I didn't know what to expect. I just got your recommendation. I was like, okay, well, like, what is this person kind of doing their own take on this story? What's it going to be like? But I really love how there's the backdrop of a war, and then these characters come together and are tied together with how do I say this? A larger mission to kind of go on.
Yeah.
And it's really cool stuff. And it's a mix of definitely high tech, but with a little bit of supernatural. I don't know what you call mystical. Yeah. Which is my jam. So Brian does a great job of that. And in addition, like clearly it's like a love letter. So you can see this is very much like taking those toys and bringing them to life. Some of this is the toys, but drawn in a very, in my opinion, like Marvel house style for a certain time period, late 80s to 90s. And you see some of these toys that we like never saw in the comics, like Membros, right? Same here. Got that armor, like all of this stuff. Same with this stuff. And then this stuff I love. I don't have this. I haven't sort of seen this, but this is like a collection of the box art.
It is.
Or it's like a reimagining.
It's a reimagining of the box art.
Yeah.
And
so good.
wow.
Yeah. So if you're big into Micronauts, consider it. If you're big into toys, really consider it, and sci-fi stuff, because there's some really cool stuff there. And part of like supporting this is like, so what's your dream to sort of see with the Micronauts brand? What would you love to see happen, FanAgain? Abe Froman.
Oh man, I don't even know. Even know about Kevin, if Kevin would do something like that, if Micronauts is even on his radar.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if you could put Kevin Smith, Brian Vox, and Jerry Macaluso into one room and say, hey, give us a Micronauts movie, that's what I'd like. I would like to get the best of the best of the best out man. Jerry Macaluso, he is one of my biggest inspirations to do this. And then of course Brian, please everyone go to magcloud.com, get your copies, read this. It is an amazing story. It really is. From the microverse to our world, it's kind of the same story, but different, and it's told in such a better way. I mean,
I agree.
no
It's a
offense
very
to Micronauts or to
no, exactly. So real quick, what you're saying is very similar to what the conversation we were having about Masters of the Universe and Revolution not too long ago. Just it's like, I'm not trying to be iconoclastic, and I don't think that's what Kevin Smith and them were trying to do with the old Filmation or anything, but I don't think that flies in 2024. Like if you were just to kind of recreate that. So instead they built this new version with very much like I think a loving nod to those classic stuff, and brought it into like our modern sensibility when it comes to storytelling and adventure and all that. So when you say that, that's what I felt like. I wasn't expecting it when I read his story, and I was like, oh my God, I could totally see this work on screen. I could see broader audiences being sucked into a world and completely buying that there's people with like chrome faces.
Yeah.
It'd be expensive to do, but yeah. So it just reminded me of that when you're saying that.
Just put them all in green suits and it'll be fine. Yeah, because their skin is actually like that. I mean, that's what they are. That's the type of humanoid alien. But yeah, those figures right there.
This is his work, folks, which is a perfect transition.
Yeah, these are my boys. I do not have any of these anymore. They are, well, I have one Galactic Warrior. You guys saw him. He was in that that Jedi Starfighter that I found at Goodwill. But yeah, I love these guys, and I was so geeked, and I whenever I finally got to send them to Brian, because that was the ultimate goal, was to get these guys done, get the shots taken, gather my data from them, because these guys right here will fall apart. These are not players. These are posers.
These are posers. And so if it's not registering, this is the initial, this is that Protectors of Inner Space book by Brian Vox. These are the characters that he uses based on the old toys. And these are Abe or FanAgain's and Xander's, him and his sons, recreation of these characters in action figure form, using a lot of like nods from the original figure construction as well as modern bits. And yeah, going to town with customizing feels like it's definitely not the right word, but you guys are making toys from scratch.
Yeah, so it's been a blast. I have no digital skills. I really don't. This stuff is done in Tinkercad. I'm trying to teach myself a little bit of Blender. I'm trying to teach myself a little bit of ZBrush. I'm pushing Xander to really start migrating away from Blender and get into more ZBrush. If anybody is following me on IG, we're working right now I'm working on the articulation for Membros, and Xander is working on the sculpts for Antron. So our first 5 figures for the O-ring line were heroes. I don't know. I'm just going to call them by their Micronaut names so everybody knows what they are.
Go for it. And I'm going to show this while you're talking, because this is I'm super grateful and lucky to have been sent.
He's more of a player, you know.
This guy.
These guys.
Yeah, this is not like those were early prototypes from like a couple years ago, right?
Right.
A couple years ago now.
Yep.
These are.
Yeah, we have Galactic Warrior, and then Time Traveler, who you're holding there. We have
with the engine.
Steroid.
Right?
Yep, and you can pop that right off.
Sorry, since we're here, if for Star especially, and maybe Real Robo Tribe if he's still watching, that's that 5mm.
Yep.
Same port as the originals.
I have no idea if the originals will fit. I have never, out of all of my collection up there, I do not have an original Time Traveler. So I don't even know if they fit or not, but.
And a blue one. Or they were actually Pharoids, but.
Yeah,
and you've added some new bits. These are like, so these are not necessarily like, you know,
right,
slavish recreations of nostalgia's past, but you're really like, given modern technology and modern toys, you're trying to, you know, like make these things with all that in mind. And it's so cool. And so the O-ring thing, which I love that you're doing. So you weren't doing O-ring before. You guys kind of went back to it. Can you tell us a little bit about how you decided to do that and when you decided to do that? I'm going to carefully, there's no ring in there. So cool. And they move great. Like this doesn't, seriously, this is like my old toys. There's so much like nostalgia when I'm looking at this thing. Cause
that really geeks me out to see you play with it. That's awesome.
I'm not worried about it at all.
That's like whenever I hand one of these to my son, I have to tell him, okay, go easy a little bit there. But he does all these like really super poses with them, and I'm not a great poser anymore, I guess. I don't know, but he's really good at it. That's been my focal point, is playability. I want people to be able to play with them, but at the same time, I want them to pose them. And with the smaller line here, I kept on trying to make a figure that would rival 1/12. It's really hard. And I tried to do, we've got different ones. I've been through all kinds of different articulation styles. Sorry if I just blew everybody's ears off. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
But like this right here, this is what we call the Common Traveler. It's a mix of,
Common Rider
of the Time Traveler and a Common Rider. Now, here's the difference here. Okay. Oh, and he just completely fell apart on me. Anyway, before I just popped his arm off of him, I was attempting to do the same arm swivel down here on the elbow that Vitruvian and Boss do. Let me put his torso back on him. This poor guy, he is a different mixture of resin, and he's just got a hard life. He's just had a really hard life. But he's lost both of his antenna now.
That's what I mean, that's the thing. You're really experimenting with these things, and you know, it's like, these are not meant to be production toys per se, but it's so cool that you can do this. So you, for example, I don't have the thing handy, the bug. Again, it's up on my shorts. Oops, I'm showing you this, but there in shipment, the antennas were originally a part of Bug's. This is Marvel's Bug, by the way. It's still a character in the 616, but the antenna broke off in shipment. So you're like, hey, let me and Xander kind of quickly rework these and see if we can get those as removable things so that they ship better. And so you sent me a whole new head, and this is gonna look amazing when painted up, man. And of course, these are not production toys, folks. These are made by, you know, I've been mentioning Xander, but so Abe here makes these toys. It's a family endeavor. Him and his son work on these things, and your son started sculpting based on doing this work. Is that right?
Yeah, that bug that you're holding is his very first sculpt ever.
Yeah, and check out. I don't know if you're seeing in the quote in the chat, but you've got Game Quest. Like, I just need to know when and where I can buy these. I don't care about the price. These are must-haves. So there's definitely people out there that remember and love these. So I think that's why, you know. So I gotta apologize to you. I have in the past, but I'll do it again. He and I filmed like a whole thing about Micronauts and did a bunch of history, and I still have it. Haven't edited it. I haven't finished editing it, but yeah, no, I'm glad to use this time here to just kind of talk about it. So at that time, you were really trying to make these. Oh, there you go. You were trying. Yeah, you show your stuff, man. You've got there's a on the left, on your left is the 6-inch, and right. Yeah.
Yep.
And then that one's not quite the same size as this, is it? That other
small one? It's the very same guy.
No, the one in your other hand is the same as the little ones.
Oh, this one? Yeah. They are the same. His antenna, if you look, his antenna are bent backwards. Whenever we went to the Murph show, his antenna got heated up inside the case, and they got folded back. So I just need to heat them up and put them back.
Kind of looks rad that way, actually. But
and his hands are the old style where they're pressed in. So there's that difference as well. I still need to work on how the hands are done. I like how Morphonaut has his hands. I think those are really cool.
Morphonauts, Bo and the Creative Beast Studios, yeah. I'm sorry, no, Morphonauts and what am I trying to say? Combat Creatures, yeah.
Anyway, I can't wait.
Fantastic, man. This I've just been playing with this here, and it's fantastic. And so I'm assuming these arms pop out, right?
The arms do not come off, not on those ones. If you unscrew them, they'll come off.
Oh, I see. There's a joint and there's a little ring around it too.
Yeah. I want to eventually be able to do some sort of butterfly with them, but I just don't know. Beta Ray Bob, I was mentioning to you, Beta Ray, I'm going to be sending him out one of the Galactic Defenders, because besides Time Traveler, Galactic Defender is probably the funnest out of the bunch of them. Because he has so much to take off.
Yeah.
And put on. But yeah, I want to have Bob take a look at him, but Bob is the reason why there is shoulder swivel.
Here. Oh, really? He kind of came up with that?
Well, he told me, he's like, it'd be even better. Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. But yeah, Beta Ray is the one that said, you know, it would be cool if they had like a shoulder swivel. So shoulder swivel we did. But yeah, I'm going to be sending him out.
Yeah, look at that. And then, you know, and then there's a swivel, and then there's also kind of a bicep swivel as well. Yeah, and that's what's fun, is to sort of see you. I've seen the iteration, right? You just kind of continuing to improve these things. What are you thinking? What are you thinking or hoping will happen with all your toys? Like, what do you want to see happen? Or can we put that out in the universe?
No, we absolutely can. Because I had tossed something out there at the Toy Migo crowd, you know, for one of their after hour questions.
Yep.
I'm not sure. I'm really not. That's why, you know, I'm going to, by their suggestion, and that's kind of what I'm doing with you and with, our boys. I was going to ask you what your t-shirt was. You have some of the best t-shirts, man. but they suggested getting the pieces out there and letting people get them in their hands and see what they thought of them.
Yep.
And then from there, take that information back to the drawing board or tablet. And that's where I'm at right now, where I want to go. Yeah, there's the whole lineup. But I'm not sure. Yeah, a Croyer. Yeah, that's my version of Giant Croyer.
Amazing, man.
And that's the Shogun Warrior back there over my shoulder. That's who that is back there.
Over
over
your shoulder, and then gotcha. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. I remember you showed me that when we were recording last time. Yeah. Careful with that guy. Oh my God. Look at that, folks.
That is whenever we ran out of resin. So we went back to FDM.
You know, somebody's sitting on this license right now for what we can tell Hasbro, yeah?
Yeah.
And so, like, man, so much possibility. Granted, like, there's a lot of engineering in this that I can imagine, like, that must be a nightmare for them to kind of think about how they would do. So, at the end of the day, there has to be a demonstrated interest, and I think that's kind of what we're trying to do. And then I know you're kind of saying, I'm not sure what to do, but it's interesting. We had Renders here, and Renders found his way to Ramen Toy, and they're like, I'm sure you're familiar with what Ace and Ramen.
Yeah, Ace spoke with me at PowerCon.
Yep,
he said once I do a successful Kickstarter to reach out to him. That's where I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Am I ready for a Kickstarter? And once I do a Kickstarter, what then? I guess I need a mentor. I think that's what I don't know.
Yeah, it's sort of like, what are the possibilities? Well, and that's a tricky thing. So I mentioned Ramen specifically because he's played in that space of not necessarily having the license or to do these things. And unfortunately, as we've said, like, Hasbro has this license. They flirted with the potential of bringing it back. Just a while ago now, there was an SDCC exclusive where they're trying to build this like shared universe among Visionaries and ROM and Micronauts and G.I. Joe and Transformers. And they released this one box set that had a Micronaut connection in there. But then nothing. And I understand it because, you saw Universal try and do their shared universe, right? And that didn't quite work out with Dark Universe. And then G.I. Joe has been trying to do something and that hasn't quite worked. Transformers has had its success. So I think they're shy. So I don't know what the best route is either, but I do see, like we mentioned, folks at Ramen kind of just saying, hey, there's no Bravestar license and they're fans of Bravestar out there. So let's just put out something Bravestar. Same with Centurions, right? So there's something to be said about that. And yeah, I think talking with him and kind of getting his sense of things is helpful. Maybe reaching out to some of the other indie toy makers.
I think I'm going to try and reach out to Bo. Bo and I have a lot in common. And I did the Kickstarter with him. And I don't know if you recognize this little guy.
Which one? Oh yeah, look at that. You got your combat creature bonus.
He sent that out with the I bought a Xenomorph and a Halo figure for my sons. Xander's big into Halo. I don't know if you can see that over there.
Yeah.
We like Halo around here. But and then Damien is huge into Aliens and Predator. So I got them both one, and I've got to say, if anybody's just wondering if those figures that he is selling, those little 4-inch figures are worth it, they are so worth it. He does a great job with them. Great job. You could, if you buy them assembled, you could hand that to a child and let them play with it.
You're talking about these, the Teco Toy stuff?
No, not Teco
No,
toys. I'm
you're
talking
talking about the
about
Halo.
Bo's little 4-inch
Oh, I'm
figure that he
sorry.
sells.
I'm bouncing around.
Yeah,
Yes, sorry. Yep.
yeah,
Yep. The Morphonaut stuff.
yeah. Bo he's got that down. He really does. His stuff is really really good. But that's what they are. Whenever you get them, I believe they are resin, and as far as I can tell, but yeah, they're great. Yep, there's our members.
Yep. I mean, clearly there are folks out there. We just have to find them, but also like I'm not holding out hope that Hasbro is going to do anything with it. I'll be honest with you. So then is there an alternate way, or would you and other fans be happy in kind of creating your own thing that is somehow reminiscent but not the same? You know,
I felt like
that's the
that was
tricky part.
Protectors.
What's that?
I felt like that was Protectors.
Yeah, Protectors of Inner Space is definitely like got its thing, but then I don't know enough about the legal distinctions. You know what I mean? I just don't know.
At that point, it's not Hasbro that I'm concerned with. It's Takara.
Takara. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it wouldn't be Marvel either. Marvel didn't create Baron Karza.
That's right. You're right.
Mego
You're
did.
right.
And whenever I was at PowerCon, a lot of people know about this. I walked up to Marty and I wanted to show him to him, and I finally got to show him to him, and he said, "Go show him to Hasbro," and walked away from me. He does not. I understand that, you know, he's probably just right along with the rest of us.
And who was that? Sorry, Marty is.
He's president of Mego now.
Oh, gotcha.
His
yeah,
dad,
he knows the limits.
His
I guess.
dad, if I'm correct, is the one that brokered the deal, though, for Micronauts. I think. I very well could be wrong, and somebody out there could be telling.
And you know, of course, they're legally covering. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, I shopped them around quite a bit.
So that's where it's at. And it sounds like you've got some thinking to do, talking to people. Definitely reach out to Bo if you haven't already.
Yeah.
You know, there are definitely people interested. I know that there's a lot of people overseas too who are very interested in these things, and seeing these things kind of return. I don't know what the form factor is. I'm selfishly looking at 6-inch plus, because that's kind of what I've got on my shelf, and I want to see. You know, I want to see.
It's there. It's there. These right now.
Yeah, man, I want to see them hanging out in Cosmic Legions. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. And we want to do that as well. We started. Originally I wanted to do just 112.
Yeah.
But then I spoke to others, and they were like, you know, it'd be great if you just did the originals. And so I started doing that and trying to figure them out. And it's all kind of led to the O-ring figs, you know.
Right here.
Yeah, that's how they're built.
And, you know, and I know a lot of that was also because there's definitely been a little bit of this sort of O-ring resurgence kind of a thing, right? With all these new lines coming out and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know the answer. I know that you and Xander do amazing work. And if folks want to follow Xander as well, where do they do that?
He is Z Halo.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's right. It's ZHALO, correct?
Yeah, something like that. I think he's still in here. Xander, if you're still in here, say hello.
No, wait. Is it Z or XA?
He's an XA. Yeah, but he put ZA on there. He couldn't get the Instagram name that he wanted, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, all the nice stylistic pictures in my IG are Xander.
Well, get that link to me for sure, and I'll put that in the document. Are you there, Xander?
Xander, post your IG tag.
Yeah, type in the name. I don't think it'll let you do a URL, but give that to me. Yeah, he's trying to figure it out too. So cool. Yeah, I mean, let's just sort of see.
Oh, there he goes. Thank you, Thanoscopter.
Thank you, Thanos. You rock. But yeah, so like clearly, like Micronauts were the entire foundation of my childhood. Rick Jones and Micronauts are still an inspiration to me. Still are. If the big companies don't want them, for crying out loud, leave them in the hands of those who love them, please.
Amen.
It's amazing the influence this property has had over such a short period. I'll never forget those toys either. And later the comics, 100%. Like, again, of course, things went a particular direction with Star Wars and with Kenner figures. But the articulation on these things for its time was just mind-boggling. And they set a standard for Mego. They did the Buck Rogers and all these other things. And then we got Kenner, and then we went to 5 POA, and that's fine. I love them. They have their charm.
Yeah.
But it was almost like a step backward until we went forward again, in my opinion, as far as movement. So, and then, again, the roots, Micronauts, specifically Microman, are part of the roots of what Microman and Diaclone gave us, the Transformers. And, of course, then there's the G.I. Joe influence of the O-ring design, all of these things. And then the use of, like, even Star Wars and all of their vehicles. I don't think it was invented by Mego and Takara, but clearly there was that in the zeitgeist at that time. And, really glad that people still remember it. I'll tell you, like, even the pop and swap, I've mentioned this before, of like Cosmic Legions, Mythic Legions, being able to pop off parts and exchange parts, especially when for Cosmic, they started going, hey, let's create a port that we can put accessories. I was like, yes, and like, why more toys don't do that? So we can actually, like, do some pretty cool things with, like, attaching weapons and armor on. And so I don't know, you're on to something. And
let me show off one.
What are you gonna show off? Yeah, you're onto something, and I really, really hope that we get to a place where we can see some of these toys get produced, and let's see people doing something with these.
This guy will be coming soon.
Oh, sorry, I'll blow you up in a second. Just wanted to throw this up. See if I can get Xander's thing up here. So there's the Halo. This is the other half of FanAgain Collectibles, essentially. So he does the modeling. Is that what's going? How do you all? What's the division of labor, or is there one?
It honestly, it depends on the figure. If I need like that head sculpt right there, I'm not real happy with. There. I'm not real happy with that one. So I'm probably going to hand it over to Xander and say, hey, Xander, do this, this, and this to it. He did all of Membros. I'm just doing the articulation on it. It's kind of a back and forth. I really couldn't put a percentage on it because we both do stuff just back and forth. I love that shot. That is so Art Deco. That is cool.
Was this look of Membros taken from something, or was this your interpretation of Membros?
That was Xander's interpretation of Membros.
Very cool, man. I dig it.
Yep.
I really dig it.
Xander
Make
will be
brain
21.
removable, please.
Xander will be 21 this year.
Nice.
So you're getting the mentality and the viewpoint of, there's some early stuff of
a young person.
Yeah, of a younger person.
Yeah. And
that's what I'm just loving about it. It's just great. And he's taken to him so much.
That's awesome, man. Okay, sorry. What were you trying to show off? Oh, beautiful.
This is what I call the Acro Inquisitor.
God, look at all those cool attachments. And so those are all like portable, swappable kind of parts and attachments?
Yeah. Yeah. And they move.
God, I would have so much fun with that. Look at that. A rotating little saw. Can you hold them up a little higher?
Oh, sorry.
The other hands. There you go. Oh, so cool. I love the ball attachment too. That's so Micronauts.
Yeah. So he is an interpretation. I'm probably blowing everybody's brain out. But yeah, he has a front 5mm and a rear 5mm port. So we've got some work I got to do to him. Because he is one of the older styles before we started moving towards better articulation and different articulation styles. so he does have to be remade. But this is an early piece. But yeah, I just want to show
And
that
of
because I know
course, we
people.
would be great to put these in people's hands, but like, how lucky are you as a Micronauts fan to have this like thing in your house?
Oh, sometimes I just walk in here and I'm just like, wow, because
Yeah. It's
I'll do
wild.
anything. I have some artists that I'm friends with on Facebook.
Yep.
Greg Boecher, what's Ghislaine Barbie? I hope I'm saying his name correctly. But they will do pictures of Micronauts, and I will go, okay, I'm going to design that. So the very first Acroyer that I actually did was based on one of Ghislaine's. Another artist that I'm friends with that he does digital stuff, Vincent Ortiz. He does some really crazy stuff, but he did a version of Membros, and it's not up here right now. It's down in Xander's room. But he allowed me to take that and switch it around, do a few different things with it. Here's Galactic Defender, the one that I'm going to be sending out to.
Look at that guy.
And like I said, he is the funnest because he's got all kinds of neat stuff that you can do with him. His backpack, his flight pack, is actually, now I got to hold him just right here, what holds the helm onto him.
Oh, it's like pinned through. Got it.
So then once the helm thing is off, then you can put that right back on him. And he's got a flight pack. Now that's not it.
So good.
We're not done yet.
Yeah, I know.
Because we can take that wing off, swap that around, and all of a sudden you've got options.
Oh, see, that's what I love, man. That's what I want to be able to do with my modern toys. Just give me a bunch of. I really hope, for example, Four Horsemen end up putting a little bit more of those ports on too, so you can port armor on arms and stuff.
Yes.
And I get it. They want to also work on the aesthetic, so they have to find a way to make it like make sense for the figure.
Definitely.
But yeah, man, you've got some new folks that are interested. So definitely check out Star. If Membros is in the lineup, can we expect Repto and Antron later? Please. And you've got Rick on the team Antron. Yeah, they're there. I was trying to find them on your Instagram because I feel like I've seen them. Game Quest, shout out to you and Xander. Fantastic work, both of you.
Oh, I'm not taking him off here.
Look at those wings. God,
his wings need to be redesigned.
Green and purple.
Because I was trying to give him more of a mech feel.
Oh yeah, I see that. Okay. So that's like a backpack joint, and then the wings connect to that.
Yeah, and the tail, even if you look at the tail right there, it's even on a hinge.
That's cool, man.
But yeah, he's difficult. I've got a lot of work to do to him before he'll be done. But yeah, he'll be an O-ring. He'll be redesigned. The wings will be closer to him, and yeah.
There were 3 others towards the end of the line that Star's trying to remember the name of the quote unquote creature criminals.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I don't.
There was one that kind of
take a breath, Star. Take a breath.
Yeah. There's one that kind of looked like that.
That's right. The mantis looking.
Yeah,
what is that? That's one of your figures? No.
It's a Vitruvian. This is what
Vitruvian. And you're building on top of their. See, that is cool.
Yeah, this is a different type of. This was the
Come on, boss fight.
Yeah, this was the first type of chest engine that I did. I tried that it could just.
Oh, where it wraps around.
Yeah, where it would just pop on. This is older resin. I don't want to break it. But
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm going to finish painting him up. But yeah, I ordered some parts. I just handpicked every bit of this just so I could do this particular custom. I saw that mantis head and those arms and stuff, and I was just like, oh, I've got to do it.
So, I mean, you clearly have put in the work. You guys have been doing the designs. We got to figure out a way to like get these out there. And you know, it's tough. Like, and of course there are people who will probably be willing to pay a good amount of money for them. But of course, you would be great to hit that sweet spot where they're available for a bunch of people, accessible.
Yes.
But the
Definitely.
right stuff, man, got to figure out something. But I am curious, Star, Rick, Game Quest. I'm curious if you be interested in a line that wasn't exactly like these, but like the concept was there. You know, do you think other folks would, would be into that, or is it like that's the tricky part? Does it have to be clearly? Oh, it has to be Micronauts. That's a tricky piece. You know, it's kind of like trying to convince some folks to try a walkout, and when they're like, you know, there's Thundercats. So I get it. It's not meant to replace your Thundercats, but it's a whole other thing. I wonder if people would be accepting of something like that. So I don't know, but yeah, thank you, Renders.
And I appreciate everyone. I appreciate everyone, especially in the chat. Thank you all. I really, Rick Jones, he's coming. He's coming, brother.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much. This is, I think this is easily the longest news that we've done, just because I'm like, yeah, we got the time. Let's talk Micronauts. But man, thank you so much for joining me tonight, just to talk about all sorts of stuff, plus some Micronauts. Hey, Drewsley, thanks for dropping in. We're just sort of finishing up. Curious, you're out in Switzerland. Hello. Was Micronauts a thing out there? Just curious. So, and Game Quest is saying, of course, the heart just needs to be there. I'm assuming in terms of like the figure. I don't know. There's got to be. There's just, and I'll tell you right now, you see my show. There's a ton of people making toys right now, and you know, they're not all gonna come Mythic Legions overnight in terms of sales and audience, but there is an audience for people who are just interested in toys, and you would totally get people like myself and others like Toy Migos, like people who just are excited about toys, period. So I don't know, man. Consider. And so here's Star saying, yes, I do. It doesn't, so you'd be willing. Doesn't have to be exactly like the originals. Wanting that is strictly nostalgia. To update them would be awesome. So
thank you, Star.
Keep it in mind, man. Let's keep talking. Let's spread it around. Let's talk to Bo of Morphonauts and just see where we can go, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And shout out to Xander. Great work. I'm a fan.
Yes. Yes. I'm a huge fan of his. He's coming right along.
Yep. Keep it imaginative. You've got folks there, man.
Yep.
So, all right, man. Well, I think I'm gonna get back to the world and prepare for work tomorrow. Thank you again, man. Thank you so much for joining. I'm glad you're doing well, up and about, and continue to make some awesome toys. So again, folks, all the links will be in that link down there at the very bottom, and then available at the QR code. Obi Juan, good to see you. You were quiet. I didn't realize you were there, man. Good to see you. ¿Qué pasó? Yeah. Appreciate you all sticking around. You know, really appreciate it. Thank you again, FanAgain. Thank you, Xander. I'll put all the links. Yep. Awesome. I'll put all the links down for everybody's Instagrams, and follow them. If you're on Facebook, I'll throw in those links too. You have to be logged in to do that, but he's got a lot of stuff there. And there was that Inner Space Facebook group. Like if you're super into Micronauts, there are definitely some Micronauts groups. Just like connect with people, see if we can kind of like drum up the interest, you know? So let's do it. Nice. Awesome. Great, Eldor. Yeah, check it out. Good to see you, Kenzo. Always great to see you. Another talented maker, customizer, Game Quest, Star. Awesome. Let's head out. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Next week with Renders, who was in here tonight. So just keep it going. Keep talking maker stuff.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.